Alright, what's up, y'all? AJ, and we're back with the best of sports and pro wrestling, the best of pro wrestling and sports. Either way you slice it up, you want the best of both worlds, you want to be right here. So, with that in mind, if you enjoy the content that we're coming through with, definitely hit that like, share, and subscribe down below. And of course, don't forget to hit that notification bell when you subscribe so you know when we're coming through with new content. And definitely don't hesitate to leave us a comment down below so that we can actually keep the conversation going beyond the video. With that in mind, we'll just jump right into business. Shout out to the new subscribers once again, as mentioned in the previous video. Hopefully, we're looking forward to seeing more of y'all come through. But with that in mind, we're just going to jump right into things. And of course, we're talking about the NBA Finals. And yeah, I guess my Pacers and 6 pick isn't looking so strong. I'm not going to deviate. I'll still stick with the Pacers, although 6 probably isn't going to be the case at this point. Actually, probably doesn't fit in this category. 6 won't be the case unless it ends up being OKC winning tomorrow night, but anything can and will happen. However, the bigger issue seems to be the diagnosed calf strain of Tyrese Halliburton, and if that's to be the case, it doesn't look particularly good for the Pacers right now. Granted, the games that the Pacers have won, well, actually, I can't really say that because Game 3, which was won by the Pacers, they actually won behind a near triple-double from Tyrese Halliburton, which was easily his best game of the series. But it's getting to be pretty likely at this point that'll be as good as it gets unless he comes through looking like Superman out of nowhere. I mean, I'm not sure what the likelihood of that is. Of course, with the calf strain, that can be pretty significant. We saw this in the finals back in 2019 with Kevin Durant, and what happened with him and the Golden State Warriors against the Toronto Raptors at the time. I don't know. Hopefully, that's not going to be the same issue because obviously, if things go too bad, we're going to see a lot of time missed from Tyrese Halliburton if the Pacers aren't careful. But of course, he's listed as a game time decision. And with that being the case, it definitely doesn't look so good for the Pacers at this point. And really, it's a matter of the title being the Thunder's for the taking at this point. Again, we'll find out what happens in the next day or so and tomorrow night, obviously. It's just, again, not looking as good for the Pacers at that point, but anything can and will happen in sports. But realistically speaking, I'm not really going to be so bullish about that, but I guess we'll see. I mean, only time can tell. With that in mind, we'll just move right along, and I did say before we're gonna start talking some more football, and I wasn't bullshitting y'all on that one. We actually have a signing that took place today. Baltimore Ravens picked up recently released cornerback in Jair Alexander. Now, this is interesting on a couple of different fronts. One, this actually adds depth to the Ravens secondary, which you can't ever go wrong with that. And in addition to all of that, you've already seen a lot happen with this defense. Of course, the Ravens did draft safety out of Georgia, Malachi Starks, which I think is definitely going to be significant. And this only helps them out even more, especially if Alexander is able to stay healthy throughout the season. I think with what they already have on that Ravens roster, namely Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, amongst others, this actually helps them a lot, and it helps him as well because he won't be expected to do as much given the names that I mentioned. And I feel like this makes it to where he ought to be able to give the Ravens at least 12, 13 games or so, maybe even more than that. But in that same vein, if he's anything like what he's been at his best for the Packers, I would certainly say that you could have some pretty significant expectations for the Ravens this season. And that's not even given some of the other additions that they've made. Looking forward to what all of this what all this looks like as we get closer and closer to the 2025 season. But definitely a really good signing, I think, for the Ravens here. And with that, we're going to move along to the main topic, which this one's really, really wild. And I'll be perfectly honest, I wasn't planning on this being the main topic, but I decided, what the hell, why not? And we got to talk about a race that I didn't even know was going to take place, but it was going to be a 50-yard race between Olympic champion in Noah Lyles and Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill. I gotta say, this one's really wild to me, as Tyreek Hill, obviously one of, if not the fastest player in the NFL right now. I guess I want to talk about this because it's cool to see sports crossovers like this. It's definitely fun, and I think there's significant entertainment value. But unfortunately, it seems as though the race has actually been canceled, and it's really, really wild because I didn't even know that it was going to be a thing in the first place. But more than anything else, I think it's really, really interesting, as there's an article up on ESPN right now, and it states Olympic 100-meter division champion Noah Lyles has canceled his much-anticipated showdown with Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill due to quote-unquote personal reasons. Hill had challenged Lyles to a 50-yard race days after the American sprinter won gold in the 100 meters at the Paris Games last year. Lyles said the plans were to hold the race against Hill this weekend in New York Times Square. We were very deep into creating the event, Lyles told reporters at the Stagewell Global Sport Beach event in Cannes, France. And of course, Lyles would go on to say, in fact, it was supposed to happen this weekend. Man. Alright. This is funny to me, actually. This is actually pretty hilarious that this is even a thing. I want to say I heard about this as a thing. Of course, this has been something that isn't entirely uncommon. You actually, once upon a time, had track elitist in Usain Bolt actually put on helmet and football pads, actually trying his hand out at some football plays. I don't know how that would have worked out. I mean, maybe if he would have added some muscle, it would have been interesting to see. I don't know, just this whole thing with this debate that there has been, can NBA players make it in the NFL? Can NFL players make it in the NBA? Largely the answer is no. But it would make for a very interesting conversation. There are certain exceptions within each sport that I think absolutely deserve to have that be talked about in their favor. But if I'm being perfectly honest here, this for me is nothing more than just an entertainment spectacle. I don't know that it would have necessarily been sanctioned, as those details I don't believe were revealed. But if nothing else, I certainly would have loved to have seen it. I mean, two of the fastest men on the planet representing their sports accordingly. I mean, I don't know that I would have paid money to see it, but given that it would have been made available, I certainly would have looked forward to it. Don't know if it would have been on like YouTube or Twitch or anything like that, but if and when something like this does happen, I certainly do look forward to it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Not sure how that would work out, given that, especially when it comes to at least NFL, NBA, and I would like to think MLB and even NHL athletes, they have contracts that certainly prohibit from this actually being a thing entirely. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Anything absolutely is possible with these sort of things, but maybe we never know. I mean, that's really all I know to say on that, so I'll leave it at that for right now. And with that, I thank every last one of y'all for coming through. If y'all enjoyed, again, hit that like, share, subscribe down below. Don't forget that notification bell. definitely don't hesitate to leave a comment. And with that in mind, this has been your time with A&J, and I appreciate you spending it with me.